What is going on, sports fans? Michael Lewis Hudson, EBC Sports International. I'm your host tonight. And before we start, as always, I need to introduce to all of you our wonderful panel joining me tonight. And just a heads up, it's going to be a pure Canadian sports panel. And I'm the lone American here, but hey, I can't complain because I love these guys so much. So first and foremost, from Toronto, Canada, we have Adian Pangilinan. How you doing, Adian?
Hey, Mike, what's going on? I'm doing good. Excited to talk sports, basketball, football. What else do we got on the plate? I can't wait.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next, also from Toronto, Canada, we have Albert Sese.
How's it going, Mike? Hopefully you can, renounce your American status and join us Canadians one day. But tonight, let's just talk about some sports.
Hey, man, you never know. You never know how the world is right now. So we'll see. And from Vancouver, Canada, we have with us the OG, Zsolti Horvath.
Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, my Vikings had a very tough loss last weekend, but at least they're not the Seahawks.
Come on now.
Zsolti already with the below the belt shots, man. But you're right. Seahawks are so bad, and I can't take it. Let's move on, please. So a kind reminder to everybody, to all our viewers, we are just a group of friends discussing sports, and by no means are we sports experts. But before we go into our main topics tonight, we want to share with you some sports updates from around the globe. And first off, Zsolti has some NBA news for us concerning LeBron James. What do you have for us, Z?
Thanks, Mike. So a few days ago, you may have heard about LeBron James entering the league's COVID protocol. He was put in protocol due to conflicting results after a positive test collected on November 29th. He was tested twice the following day with one negative and one inconclusive test. And the league's COVID protocol state, if a player tests positive for COVID-19, that player could return if he tests negative twice for the virus at least 24 hours apart. Otherwise, the player must isolate for at least 10 days following a positive test. And as you may have just heard, he had one negative and one inconclusive. Therefore, he was forced to miss Tuesday's game against the Kings, which the Lakers still won 117-92. Now, this was big news. As we all know, LeBron is one of their star players. The good news now, though, is LeBron has cleared the league's protocol by providing two negative tests and will potentially suit up tonight against the Clippers. The game's happening right now, so I'm not sure if he's suited up or not, but it's a potential suit up for LeBron tonight. All right. The Lakers obviously didn't miss him much, though, as they beat the Kings, but he should give them a much needed boost as they're just over 500 on the season. LeBron was with the team in Sacramento when the positive test occurred, but the team arranged for a medical plane to take James back to Los Angeles. LeBron posted a tweet on Wednesday that included 5 emojis of fish, including one hanging from a fishing hook stating, "Something real fishy is going on." Many interpreted the tweet as implying he thought something unusual was happening with his COVID testing. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks a lot, Zsolti. And also our very own Ken Cruz is actually covering that game, so we'll keep you guys posted on the results on that game. So Albert has some baseball news for us. Albert, what's going on?
Yeah, Mike, this past Wednesday, December the 1st, right before midnight, the MLB's collective bargaining agreement actually expired. Shortly thereafter, MLB owners announced a lockout for the players, and after a unanimous vote, marking its first work stoppage since the 1994-1995 season. Over the past several weeks, both the MLB and the Players Association have come forth with their proposals for what they want, but at the core of their labor issues all stems from the economics. As a result of the lockout, many players' related activity has come to a halt, and there are no free agent signings, no use of any team facilities, and no contact of any kind between the team and their players are allowed until the impending expiration sort of finishes off. Many agents knew this, and the impending expiration kicked off a free agent frenzy in the past couple of days as 6 players agreed to 9-figure contracts and teams handed over $1.7 billion in contracts. Many are left wondering if there's a possibility of games being canceled in the upcoming season, but within 3 months until the season opener, experts predict that the only delay may be during the spring training. Both sides of the table have already lost a lot of money during the pandemic, and anything short of a full season would be another blow to the sport economically. Back to you, Mike.
Appreciate it, Albert. And also, Adian has some exciting news to share with us from the world of golf. What's going on, Adian?
Yes, thank you, Mike. Tiger Woods had his first in-depth interview since the February 23rd car crash that had his SUV topple off-road in a Los Angeles suburb. And now he's back hosting for the Hero World Challenge. And also, by the way, did you guys see his swing he posted with the caption, "Making progress"? Everything's looking good so far, but he may be back, though not as a full-time participant. Maybe not even that close, according to himself. Here's what he had to say. "I have so far to go. I'm not even at the halfway point. I have so much more muscle development and nerve development that I have to do in my leg. At the same time, as you know, I've had 5 back operations, so I'm having to deal with that. So as the leg gets stronger, sometimes the back may act up." There was a lot to unpack in the 30-minute interview, and fans may have to temper their expectations with just how soon he will be back at full strength. He did say, "I think something that is realistic is playing the tour one day. Never full-time ever again, but pick and choose, just like Mr. Hogan did. Pick and choose a few events a year, and you play around that." And that was referring to the career of Ben Hogan, who, after his near-fatal car accident, won all 3 majors he had played in 1953. The feeling is that he is happy to be playing the sport again, and he's fully accepted his reality. Of course, the recovery process still continues. Mike, back to you.
Thanks, Adian. Appreciate it, man. Lastly, we have an incredible story from our fellow EBC correspondent, Brian Sanson, as he interviewed a recent boxing winner, Kevin "Thunderstorm" Johnson, this past week. Let's take a quick look.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Brian Sanson. I'm an Eagle News correspondent, and I'm here with a winner in Kevin Johnson. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, fantastic. We're blessed not to be stressed.
Awesome, awesome. So we're here today to interview you about the fight that you just had this past weekend.
November 27th.
Yeah, so
Saturday,
what happened there? So I know that you won, but what were your feelings when you just ended that fight?
I was excited. I was ready, physical and also mentally as well. Going towards the fight, I already knew the opponent anyways, because we grew up in amateurs as well. And I was actually his mentor. So I was teaching him some things. So I had pure confidence that I'm going to beat him. I was trying so hard to knock him out in the first, second, third.
Yeah.
And then after the 4th round knockdown, that's when I started being patient and just let the knockout come.
How were you able to defeat him up until the 9th round when it eventually came to a TKO?
Yeah, my coach says just be patient, throw up your punches correctly, and the knockout's gonna come. I was beating him every round. Each round I hurt him real bad, and I go for the knockout. But the 9th round, I hit him with a hook right hand.
Yeah.
Caught him with a hook right hand. He started back, and that's when I started attacking.
Right.
And then his coach was like, you know what, he's getting beat up every round, so he just his coach threw a towel in, and that's when I stopped him.
So moving forward now, Kevin, now that you're 10-2, correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
But what are your goals now? Since you have such a good record, when's the next fight? What are your plans moving forward?
My plans moving forward is taking one day at a time, continue to be in a training camp, steady be in a gym, and making sure that I prepare myself for a next match. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for an undisputed title match soon against Josh Taylor if that comes about, but I'm just ready for a next opponent.
So what are some goals that you would like to give to aspiring fighters? What are some tips that you can give to them?
My tips is to always stay consistent in everything that you do, not even in boxing or martial arts, just to stay consistent, making sure that you put 100% in what you do. You know what I'm saying? And dedicate yourself to it. Dedicate to your craft. I've been dedicated since boxing, like in 13 years. I've been dedicated. I've been staying here, and every day I'm in the gym. And that's one thing I can urge every fighter, every martial arts, everyone that's trying to follow their dreams, to stay consistent and be dedicated.
You have quite a following, even outside of the U.S. You have a lot of people who are giving you support, who are giving you their praise, just from being a good fighter over on your team. So what do you want to say to them, to the people who are outside of the U.S., outside of the country, who are cheering you on?
You know, on my Facebook page, I have 30K followers, and I actually see these comments, and I thank you, each and every one of you guys, for your supporting and your congratulations and everything. But I see those comments, you know, some from the Philippines, some from Asia, some from China. So I see a lot of comments, and I actually like them, I respond to them. And but one thing I gotta say is thank you so much for your love and support. You know what I'm saying? It feels so good. It feels so welcoming to have that such support around the world. You know what I'm saying? Not only in my boxing career, but they actually happy that I am a part of the Church of Christ, Iglesia Ni Cristo, and I am blessed to even be in the church. You know what I'm saying? And thank you so much, guys. All the brethren, all the people, all the fans and family around the world.
Well, thank you for the interview, Kevin. Thunderstorm Johnson.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you coming along and giving us the time to ask you a couple of questions, pick your brain about the fight.
Oh yeah, 100%. Thank you guys so much for having me. You know what I mean? I'm thankful, man.
Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Brian Sanson. We live in interesting times.
Thanks so much, Brian. Awesome story. So that's it for this week's sports news. After the break, we're going to dive right into our topic, starting with the red-hot Phoenix Suns. We'll be right back.
Mga tanong na nakakalito at mga sagot na nakakahilo. Yan ang mga dapat abangan dito sa game show na puno ng kakulitan at siksik sa kasiyahan. Please welcome ang ating matatapang na volunteer firefighters mula sa Quezon City. Yahoo! Ano ang tawag sa matinding takot sa injection? Oh! Feeling disqualified ka na. Dito na sa question na to. Dito na sa round na to. Excited ka eh. Takot nga eh. And this is Tara Game Again!
Marami bang damo sa bakuran mo? Ops. Huwag basta-basta bunutin ang mga ito.
Anong niresearch ko siya at pinag-aralan, malaki pala ang potensyal ng tanglad. As long as napag tinanim po siya ay hindi yung tuyot na tuyot, madali siyang mabubuhay.
Ang lemongrass may class din pagdating sa wellness.
Karamihan sa mga clients ko, ganun din kagaya ko na gusto rin ng natural healing.
Nakita naman nila yung the good oil talaga na pinoproduce namin.
Iimbitahan ko po kayo sa aming bahay para makita ninyo ang pagluluto ko ng lemongrass chicken soup.
Saksihan natin mga kaagapay ang mga kwento ng pag-unlad ng dahil sa tanglad. Ako po si Robin Padilla at ito po ang unlad, kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Sa hanap buhay.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back to EBC Sports International. I'm Michael Hudson, and our fellow panelist, Zsolti Horvath, had some technical issues, so he won't be joining us for the duration of the show. But it's still an all-Canadian panel, and I'm excited to get into it. So our first topic, the NBA season has reached a quarter mark, and the red-hot Phoenix Suns continue their winning ways, notching an impressive win against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors this past Tuesday night, as well as the Detroit Pistons last night, giving them their 18th win in a row. They're currently playing the Golden State Warriors right now, and they're down by 7. And if they do win tonight, that'll be 19 wins in a row. So Albert, we're going to start with you. How impressed are you with the Suns' winning ways so far?
I think this is a huge surprise. You know, yes, they had a long playoff run going into the finals, but I think, you know, the running theme of that playoff run was they beat up on some, you know, injured teams, and they probably had one of the easiest paths to the finals. It's interesting and surprising nonetheless to see that success actually carry over to this season. And, you know, they're breaking records. I think it was the Nash 8 seconds or less Suns that they beat in terms of total number of wins in a row. And again, going for the 19th against the Warriors tonight. Fans last year also said that, you know what, this was probably Chris Paul's only shot at a championship. But with what they're doing right now and how they're playing, that's definitely not true. They're definitely a title contender the way they're playing and how they're sizing up against contenders in the league, and they're proving everyone wrong. Their core, you know, remained relatively the same, adding, you know, Landry Shamet, but I think it's the development of the young players, you know, Ayton, Bridges, and even Cameron Payne has shown the development and taking that role and letting these Suns, you know, let the league know that they're for real this year again.
Absolutely, man. I think, you know, watching the game the other night against Golden State, I mean, they were just hitting all types of shots. I mean, even when Devin Booker went out with the hamstring injury, I mean, everybody was stepping up. I mean, you had Johnson coming off the bench. You had Crowder hitting those 2 huge threes in the fourth quarter. I mean, these guys are just rising to the challenge. And I mean, the beginning of the season, I think they started like 0-3, 0-4. They lost like their first 3 or 4 straight. And then all of a sudden they're on this winning streak. So it's pretty incredible. So Adian, what percentage of the success of the Suns, you know, winning ways do you give to? It could be, you know, player, coach, what have you.
I still got to stick with, you know, majority of that going to Chris Paul, because he's the orchestrator of all of this. And yeah, granted, Monty Williams is the one pulling all the strings, but Chris Paul is the guy that keeps his teammates in order. He tells his guys where to be. I mean, DeAndre Ayton doesn't have this type of year without Chris Paul. Same with Devin Booker, same with Jay Crowder or Mikal Bridges. It helps that they're young and they're developing and that they finally have a winning formula. But we've seen the statistics. Chris Paul has led 3 different franchises to 17 straight wins in a season. He just has a winning vibe that comes off of him, and I think that's what's showing with all these young players. That they're really seeing how he manages himself day to day throughout a regular season, how he approaches playoff games, and I do feel like if not 70%, 80% of the success, blame, whatever word, there's a better word for that, that would go to him. And of course, you got to give little props to Monty Williams, because he's done a great job and he's motivated his players as well as any coach could. I can't see a better coach for this team just because of that relationship he has with Chris Paul and also his ability to connect with younger players. Like, name me one coach that would be able to do a better job than him. I can't think of that. So got to give that man his props.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, like, I'm pretty surprised that, you know, especially after that NBA Finals showing, that I think a lot of people thought that the Phoenix were just going to give up and just kind of feel sorry for themselves, especially the way they performed in games 5 and 6 against the Bucks. But I think they're just like way more motivated than ever to just like prove people wrong. And yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, AD. And I think a lot of that testament goes to the Monty Williams and the rest of the coaching staff. So pretty impressed so far. So Albert, going back to you, let's just assume that the Suns stay healthy throughout the rest of the season. Do you see them grabbing the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, or do you see another team such as the Warriors or even the Clippers grabbing that number 1 spot?
I think it's going to come down to the first 2 teams that you said, the Warriors and the way the Suns are playing. You know, like I said, if they stayed healthy throughout the whole year, I can't see them not falling below, you know, 2nd, maybe even 3rd. The way the Lakers are playing as well, too, they're not really a legitimate threat, so to speak. But, you know, the way these past two games and this current matchup that's going on right now with the Warriors and the Suns, I think you give or take, you can take either or, one or two. And again, it's tough to see them fall, below 3 or even 4. So I'm taking them second. I think, with the incumbent return of Klay Thompson for the Warriors, it's going to be a huge boost for them. And they're just going to take off running, even after the All-Star game, because it's going to take some time for Klay to get accustomed to the team. So I got the Warriors going 1, and then I got the Suns going 2.
And how about you, Adian? Do you think the Suns will grab that 1 spot in the West?
I do think the Suns are the better team right now, just because they're deeper. And I can see all of Albert's points, and he makes a lot of good ones. It's just that the Suns, I feel, have the experience coming off of last playoffs, as well as a deeper lineup. They have about 7 guys who average more than 10 points. That's if you count Frank Kaminsky, who filled in a big-time role when DeAndre Ayton was out for a few games. But I do think that they're just a well-oiled machine in the sense that every guy knows their role on that roster. Whereas you compare that to the Golden State Warriors, yeah, they have a lot of guys that have the experience, but how many of them were actually on the championship roster? None, aside from Draymond, Klay, and Steph Curry. And so I do feel like Klay Thompson, he's going to have to get well acclimated before he can ever be back to full strength Klay. So I do think they're going to take a couple lumps there. They're going to take a couple losses. And I don't think Steph Curry is going to be able to play 40-plus minutes every game the way he's been in the past few seasons. He's had to take some time off. So I feel like there's going to be a stretch at some point where the Warriors won't be able to withstand Steph Curry taking off some time, whereas the Suns, I feel like even if Devin Booker's out, even if Chris Paul's out for a few games, they still have the formula to keep winning. And this is just strictly a regular season thing. I do think the Suns will have a better regular season record, but if they were to be to the playoffs, I'm taking the Warriors.
Definitely. Good points, guys. And, watching that game last Tuesday and even a little bit tonight, man, the playoff intensity is already there. And it's just going to, the level's going to go even higher once Klay returns to the mix. So we'll definitely see what happens with that. So we're going to stay with the NBA with our next topic. And as I mentioned earlier, the quarter of the season has already commenced. The Suns, who we just spoke about, leads the Western Conference at 19-3, while the Brooklyn Nets lead the Eastern Conference at 15-6. So, Adian, which team has been the biggest pleasant surprise for you so far this season?
I'm going to go in the Eastern Conference, the Chicago Bulls. I did think they would have such a wide variance of outcomes, anywhere between like the 3rd and 10th seed. But they've impressed so far, not because of what they're doing offensively, but defensively. The fact that they have Patrick Williams out, Nikola Vucevic was out for a period of time with COVID protocols. The fact that all those guys have been in and out of the lineup, and they have pretty much no bench aside from Alex Caruso, they've been very impressive on that end. And the fact that they're sitting there at the top of the Eastern Conference, I feel like that's very impressive. DeMar DeRozan has taken his game to another level. Zach LaVine has done the same. And who'd have ever thought those two skills, those two talents would combine so well? Like, they've never played with a talent similar to each other's. And the fact that they're just meshing so well in their first year it's really caught me off guard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have been just so exciting to watch. And I think, along the lines with you, what you're saying, Adian, is with the Bulls is like their defense has just been killer. I mean, I didn't even know Lonzo Ball was such a great defender. I mean, his on-ball defending. Also, you toss in Caruso. And man, these guys are just hounding guards, and they are just making some noise in the East. Albert, which player in particular has been a pleasant surprise for you so far this season?
There's a couple. Just backpacking off of what Adian's take was, I think DeMar DeRozan, given his couple of years at the Spurs, sort of lackluster. A lot of people were saying, DeRozan's been washed. This contract is a little bit overpaid, and he'll sort of take the back seat in the Bulls. And it would be Levine doing what he does and doing all the scoring. But surprisingly, DeRozan has sort of revitalized his career, and he's making a strong case again for an all-star, just the way he's leading the Bulls. And again, you know what? He's doing it without the three-pointer. I think he scored 31 points the other game without a three, which is in this day and age, in terms of basketball point of view, it's insane. So just shows you how efficient he is in the mid-range. And the other person that is surprising me this year is Tyler Hero, someone who, you know, again, had an off year last year in the bubble, and you know what, coming out of it. And now he's making a strong case for Sixth Man of the Year. And the way the Heat are playing and how he's coming off the bench and providing that immediate scoring for the Heat. Again, a very pleasant surprise for sure in the East.
Definitely. So now on the other side of the coin, Aiden, we'll go back to you. We talked about pleasant surprises. So which team or player has been like a disappointment so far this season, in your opinion?
The biggest disappointment. Well, personally, the Raptors, but I don't want to go on talking about the Toronto Raptors because of how poorly they've played. Let me tell you, the Lakers. The Lakers, everyone had high expectations for them, and they're an easy team to pick because, I mean, we all thought they would be a top 3 seed at the very least in the Western Conference. Like Utah should be there, Phoenix should be there, of course the Warriors should be there, and the Lakers should be right in that mix. And granted, there's time. They still have time to get back into the thick of things. They could very well be the first seed by the end of the regular season. They've had their bad luck with injuries. They've had some bad luck with just playing together. I don't know if you want to call that luck. That's just their team. They're old, and this was also kind of expected. But yeah, Westbrook has not played up to par. I do believe, and if they have championship aspirations, they're just going to have to play a lot better. So in my eyes, they've been the biggest disappointment thus far.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And to piggyback off that, you know, for me, the most disappointed player would have to be James Harden so far. I think with him not coming into shape, I mean, you just saw right away like how much he was just struggling, and in connection with that, you know, you have like the new rule changes, things like that. So he wasn't getting as many calls. I know that shouldn't be an excuse, but it was pretty evident that he just was not ready to play. And so he's just been sticking out like a sore thumb. It's slowly changing now. I mean, he's starting to play really well now. I mean, he played great against the Knicks the other night, and now KD gets the help that he needs. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted on what happens in the NBA throughout their entire
season. Can I shout out one team?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
On behalf of our beloved EJ, you gotta shout out the Wizards.
Oh yeah,
they're playing out of their minds right now.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
They're sitting at the number 3 seed. Nobody would have thought, especially with Bradley Beal playing so poorly, that they would be doing this well. So, I mean, shout out to the Wizards, Spencer Dinwiddie, Montrezl Harrell, revitalizing his career. Shout out to them.
Oh, yeah, huge. And I mean, the guys from the Lakers, I mean, Kuzma, Harrell, and KCP, I mean, they're playing just out of their minds. And, you know, they're really showing that the Lakers made a huge mistake trading those guys away. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. But thanks for your takes, guys. We're going to be talking NFL next, so don't go anywhere. ABC Sports International will return in a moment.
Abangan, batang may lumalaking bukol sa kanyang ari, sinaklolohan. Palengke na inirereklamong dahilan na masangsang na amoy sa isang creek sa Antipolo City, pinapanagot ng responde. Mga batang may sakit sa puso, sagot na yan ng ating e-responder. Sabado, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Ito ang responde, mata ng mamamayan.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back to EBC Sports International. NFL Week 13 has kicked off with the Dallas Cowboys visiting the New Orleans Saints last night and soundly beating them 27-17. The Cowboys are now sitting at 8-4, leading the NFC East, while the Saints sit at 5-7. Avian, what impressed you about the Cowboys getting that W last night?
I gotta tell you the truth, Mike. Nothing impressed me but the Cowboys getting that W last night. The New Orleans Saints had this game in control. Taysom Hill was balling out. I mean, aside from the 4 picks he threw, it looked like he was carving up that Dallas defense. And if this Dallas team thinks they can win the championship, I think they're sadly mistaken. They've got to play a lot better. There's no way with this type of lackluster effort that they could be a first seed, a championship team that they kind of hope to be.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, watching that game last night, I think that Dallas, I mean, it didn't really impress me because, I mean, come on, think about it. Taysom Hill was playing. I mean, I don't know why everybody's so high on him. Like, he's just a gadget guy. He's not a true starting quarterback in the NFL, because you have to, in the NFL, you have to throw people open. And Taysom Hill's the type of guy that the guy has to be wide open for him to hit him with the ball. And so he was just struggling like crazy. Like you mentioned, I mean, he had 4 interceptions, one of them being a huge pick 6. And Dallas did what they had to do. I mean, Dallas already had 2 pretty bad losses, one against the Broncos and one against the Raiders. But I'm going to have to slightly disagree with you, Adian. I think that they are definitely one of the top teams in the NFC because I mean, it starts with a quarterback, Dak Prescott. I mean, even though he's a little bit inconsistent as of late, he can make the big plays. And also a huge, one of the huge things is that they have 3 of their starting wide receivers back. So Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, who was out the last 2 games because of COVID, and then CeeDee Lamb, who was out last game because he had a concussion. So having those 3 guys, that's the first time he's had all 3 receivers back since game 1. So that's going to help them tremendously going down the road. You know, looking at the Cowboys schedule, the only tough team they have remaining is against the Arizona Cardinals. I believe that's going to be in 2 weeks. The rest is going to be against the NFC East. So I think they're going to roll the rest of the division. Sorry, EJ, they're going to destroy the Washington football team 2 more times. Really sorry about that. But I think definitely the Cowboys are definitely one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. Albert, you know, with this L, we're going to focus on the Saints a little bit. Do the Saints have a chance to bounce back to get a wild card spot?
It's going to be definitely tough. You know, dropping this game was very important for them. And like you said, and it's a recurring thing that Taysom Hill, yeah, he's a Swiss Army knife. Like, he can do a lot of different things. But when it comes down to it, when you need a legitimate quarterback, you know, someone who throws 4 interceptions and that pick 6, the backbreaker, it's just not going to cut it. You know, they've been fighting an uphill battle with regards to all these injuries. You know, after Winston went down, after the torn ACL, and even Trevor Siemian not having a good past couple of starts. The thing is, when you don't have a legitimate quarterback, you're going to have a tough time, right? Yes, Taysom Hill is a mobile quarterback. He's not going to win you games. Yeah, he did have that highlight reel, you know, run where he jumped over that defender for a couple of yards. But again, they got final opponents. They got the Jets, the Bucks, Dolphins, the Panthers, and the Falcons. Let's pencil them in for the Jets and the Falcons as a win. But then the remaining 3 games are just going to be huge. And again, with the injuries that they have, I don't think they're going to be able to make the wild card, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. I was really surprised how Sean Payton, the head coach, sticked with Taysom Hill. I mean, you had Trevor Siemian there, who came in a few games ago, and they beat the Bucks. And I mean, he's a serviceable quarterback. So I was really surprised that he stayed with Taysom Hill, especially after he injured his middle finger. I did just get word that he will not be getting surgery and he's going to be playing on it. So we'll see what happens with that. So, Albert, I kind of want to get your thoughts also on the Cowboys. Do you think they have a chance to get the number 1 spot in NFC?
Definitely they can. I mean, the way they're playing, yeah, they beat up on they just barely beat a beat up Saints team, but the way Dak is playing, I definitely feel like they do have a chance, and it's going to come down to these last couple of games, so I do think that they have a chance in terms of making the playoffs, and then let's see what they can do in terms of making noise from there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think NFC is, man, it's going to be exciting playoffs because, I mean, you have Brady, obviously, you have Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the Rams are struggling, but I think they're going to make a late push. You have so many teams that are going to be in. I mean, you have Minnesota, you have Jolte's Minnesota Vikings as well. So I feel like every single game in the NFC is going to be huge. So I'm super excited about that. So we're going to move on to the next matchup. Is actually the Sunday night matchup. It's the Kansas City Chiefs against the Denver Broncos. This is going to be another incredible divisional matchup because it's super close in the AFC West. You have the Kansas City Chiefs leading that division, and then right behind them is the Broncos, and then you have the Chargers and the Raiders. But everything is separating them by like one game. So every single game in that division is super important. So Aiden, we're going to go back to you. What do the Chiefs have to do to win Sunday night?
I think the Broncos are going to try one thing, and that's run. It's what has been the weakness of the Chiefs all season long. And so hopefully the Chiefs, if they want to win this game, they're going to have to defend that run very well. They're a little banged up, but they're banged up on both sides. And so if they're going to win, they're going to have to play like they've played all of November. They've been undefeated in that month. They kind of have their championship swagger back a little bit. They seem to be in the playoff picture. And this is one of those wins that will be a statement victory to really announce that they're back and that they mean business. Because standing atop of the standings in their division is not good enough, in my opinion. I feel like they should have been a double-digit victory team by now, and they should also be top of the AFC. And so they're not there yet, but I feel like they're knocking on the door. So if they can defend that run in this matchup, and if they can get their offense going like we've seen in the past, what are they, number 2 offense in the entire league? It feels like they have a chance to pop off in this game, and I kind of feel like they will.
Yeah, definitely, man. This is going to be a huge game because, I mean, Denver has had some amazing wins this season. I mean, they blew the doors off the Cowboys a few weeks ago, and they had that impressive win last week against the Chargers. So, I mean, they're starting to pick up some momentum, and I think their wide receiver core is pretty underrated with Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. And also their defense, they have Patrick Surtain, who's a rookie, who's making noise at a huge pick 6 last week. So it's going to be a battle. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down who's going to. I think it's going to come down to one of those things where who's going to have the ball last, right? So I think if Denver has the ball last, they might have a chance to squeak out a field goal. If Kansas City, same thing. So we'll definitely see.
I got to ask you. Do you believe in Teddy Bridgewater?
Good question, man. I mean, do I have a choice? I mean, as far as Denver, I feel like he fits that system the best. I mean, obviously, would I rather have like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? Absolutely. But as far as the way that they play, which is what you mentioned earlier, like run first, I think that he's one of those players that doesn't do too much, meaning he's not that much of a risk taker. I think if he can check down every pass, he'll do it. So at the end of the day, he's just very, very risk averse, which is what the Denver Broncos need, because historically, when they turn over the ball, bad things happen. So, Albert, with Patrick Mahomes playing extremely well these past few games, do you think he continues that magic on Sunday?
I think so. Patrick Mahomes is back. He had a rough start. I think he threw 11 interceptions, but in the past 3 games, he's only thrown 1. A lot of analysts actually calling in Mahomes and saying, he has the yips, a baseball term. But you know what? Again, this past couple of games, he's definitely shown that he's returned back to his MVP ways. And I think the biggest thing, or the biggest reason why, is defenses are, playing into Mahomes' hand. They're playing really deep. They've got the the two safety high coverage, thus limiting Mahomes' patent explosive plays. But I think this coming Sunday, one of the big matchups, like what you said, Mike, is with Pat Surtain. The rookie has shown some explosive plays. He's got some highlights, and if Mahomes is reckless, I think the rookie will definitely make him pay. And like what you said, it's going to be a close game, and I do see him. The Chiefs coming up over the top just by a little bit. It's going to come down to, like what you said, the last possession.
Definitely. So we're going to have to get the score predictions, guys. So Albert, you said by a little. So what's your score prediction for this game?
I don't have them with a field goal. I got them winning by a touchdown. I got 28 Chiefs, 21 Broncos.
Ooh, gotcha. I have 31 Chiefs, 28 Broncos. How about you, Adrian?
A high-scoring one. 35 Chiefs to 21 Broncos.
Ooh,
I feel like it's a blowout.
Man. There we go. So yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. I mean, like I said earlier, with the NFC, AFC probably isn't as even when it comes to talent, but I think a lot of the games are also going to be exciting as well. I mean, you have the Chiefs up there probably at number 1, but you also have Baltimore. You have that whole AFC North division that's making some noise right now. So, it's definitely up in the air. I mean, we're not going to do our Super Bowl predictions on this show. We will in the future, but I'm excited to say that we have some awesome games ahead. So, speaking of games ahead, are there any other games coming up this week that you guys are excited to see? Albert?
I'm going to stay faithful as a Seahawks fan. We got that rivalry game against the 49ers. It's a classic NFC West battle, but this time it's with the worst team. So, you know what? With rivalry games, it's always fun to watch regardless of how good or how bad teams are. So I'm praying for Russell Wilson to finally have a good game post-injury. Hopefully they don't run it anymore on, 3 and 20s and try to at least make a play. So as a loyal Seahawks fan, I'm still going to keep my eye out over on the Seahawks 49ers game.
What's funny is that the Seahawks and 49ers game was supposed to be a Sunday night football game, but they kicked them out and put the Chiefs and Broncos game instead. So we got to that point. We used to be the team that kicked people out, but now we got kicked out. But yeah, I mean, no Deebo Samuel Sunday, so we have a good chance. We have a good chance to squeak out the victory. I think as far as getting the wild card, those days are over, but it's always nice to win against San Francisco. Adrian,
sure.
Are there any other games that you're excited to watch on Sunday?
I'm always excited when Lamar Jackson plays on Sunday. So give me the Ravens and the Steelers, another division rivalry. It's not the greatest of teams in the AFC right now, but still, two very exciting teams, two teams that always duke it out, and they always go to the last minute. So I'm in for entertaining football nonetheless.
Man, speaking of Steelers, dude, Ben Roethlisberger, I just don't understand. Like, he's done. I felt like he was done like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know why they continue to believe in him and put him out there. It just looks so, I just feel so bad because this guy has won Super Bowls. He has made probably some of the most clutch plays in NFL history, and now we just really see what age does. So, I agree with you. That matchup's going to be great. Lamar Jackson that guy is just so amazing. And even the backup quarterback too. I forget his name, but that there's a week when Lamar was out due to it wasn't COVID related, but he was sick. But that backup quarterback was smoking, man. Totally. So, all right, guys, thanks for your takes. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to tackle one more NFL topic and also close it out with our question of the week. We'll be right back.
Samahan ang paborito nating barkada sa umaga. Magbibigay ng saya, tawanan at iba't ibang pakulo sa inyong umaga. Matutong kumita, magluto, meron ding sayawan, at kantahan.
Ang dilag, ang dibdib, parang bato.
Ang programa na nagbibigay inspirasyon sa bawat kada all over the world. Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 8 ng umaga, dito lang sa Net25 at home kayo dito.
Just come with me, let's just be happy. Don't go anywhere else unless you're with me.
Hello, I'm Risa Tanes, singer-songwriter. Please catch me on Letters and Music on air and online this coming Sunday, December 5, 1 to 2 p.m. only here in Net25. See ya!
Hey everybody, welcome back to EBC Sports International. I'm Michael Hudson coming at you from Seattle, Washington. So Monday Night Football will pin the red-hot New England Patriots against the Super Bowl favorite Buffalo Bills. This is going to be another divisional matchup, but in the AFC East division. And this could very well prove who's going to win the division for the regular season. So, Aiden, we're going to go back to you once again. What do the Bills have to do? Or actually, no, I'm sorry. What did the New England Patriots have to do to beat the Bills on Monday night?
They just got to get by the pass rush of the Bills. The Bills have been a strong pass rushing team, and they're going to force Mac Jones to get the ball out of his hand almost in a second. It feels like they've been so good, and I do think that the Pats have the edge because they've just been on a roll lately. They defeated some really good teams. Bill Belichick is proving why he was one of the best coaches for the last two decades. And I do believe that even though they're the hotter team, most people believe the Bills are the better team. It does feel like though at this moment, the Pats have all the mojo going for them. So I do feel like with their ability and the way they're being coached, it does feel like a Pats victory to me.
Great. Yeah. I mean, to go along those lines, I mean, with the Bills losing Tre'Davious White, their number one corner to a torn ACL, that was a huge loss. And, Patriots, and the Patriots have been just throwing the ball amazingly. I mean, utilizing Bourne and also Aguilar. He's making an appearance now. And all these wide receivers that Mac Jones is just taking advantage of. I mean, at the beginning of the season, he was checking down a lot of passes, meaning that, he would throw your 5-yard outs, your 10-yard slants. But now he's going deeper and deeper. So it just goes to show that the coaching staff is trusting him a little bit more. I do agree with you, Adian. I think he's going to have to get rid of that ball quickly because the Bills are known for their just violent pass rush. I mean, they're one of the top pass rushing defenses in the league. The quicker he's going to get rid of the ball, he's not going to get hurt at all. He's not going to get roughed up. They'll be able to pound that ball down the Bills' throat. Albert, who has the edge in this matchup? Do you feel that the Patriots are going to continue their hot streak, or do you think the Bills will go into New England and get the dub?
I think it's going to be really close. It's sort of like a clash of the Titans where you have the hottest team and a team that, the league knows is like what you said, is a Super Bowl favorite. These two teams are actually 1 and 2 in scoring differentials, with the Patriots being at plus 146 and then the Bills just right behind them at plus 144. Aiden did make some good points with regards to, Mac Jones having to get rid of the ball very quickly. But I think when it comes down to it, the Bills are going to come out on top. They have the experience, Josh Allen versus Mac Jones. And I think Josh Allen's running will sort of make the difference in this. It's going to be close, but I do have the Bills coming out on top. And thus, as a result, they're going to take home the AFC East title.
Gotcha. So, staying with you, Albert, what do the Bills have to do, game plan wise, to slow down Mac Jones and company?
Like what you said, there was a common recurring theme of the pass rush. They're going to have to test this rookie, check his, QB IQ and see how well he can perform under the pressure of, the Bills pass rushing and get him to do those checkdowns and not those big down plays that Mac Jones has been known these past couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's hard for me to pick the Bills in this one because they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, that was a really terrible loss, like out of nowhere. Like, I mean, they're talking about how the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. And they just...
It was definitely an anomaly for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, but hey, I'm excited to see this one. I have this one. I have the Bills as well, but it's going to be low scoring. I have them winning 21-17. Albert, you had the Bills winning. Adian, what's your prediction of the score?
I got the Pats winning this one. I'm going to give them a slight edge, 30-27.
Ooh, gotcha. So they're going to continue their hot streak. So we cannot end the show without closing it out with our question of the week. So as we heard earlier in Adian's report, Tiger Woods broke his silence after his injury in a car accident he sustained last year, and spoke about his future with the PGA Tour. And I think it's safe to say that Tiger brings so many people out of their seats to watch him play the sport of golf. So the question of the week is, which current athlete makes you stop what you're doing and holds your attention best? Adian, we'll start with you.
Sticking with the NBA, I got to say, my man, Kevin Durant, is a marvel to watch, especially when he's got the hot hand and he's going and he's got all the cylinders firing. He's a sight to behold. You picture a man in the body of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but with the skill of James Worthy or Larry Bird. The man is unbelievable, the way he plays and the skill that he has for his size. He makes any defender, you can stick anybody on him, PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler, any defender in the entire world on him, and he'll be able to make him look like JV level. He's amazing, and he's a talent that we just can't take for granted. And can I say one more across a different sport? In the UFC, Conor McGregor, love him or hate him, he always has my attention whenever he fights. I hate it. He's just unsportsmanlike, but I watch all the time.
It's all right, man. It's all right. No judgment here. Albert, how about you, man?
I'm gonna stick also with basketball, but on the Western Conference, I'm gonna go with Steph Curry, a guy who almost legitimately changed the way the game is played and how certain positions are, played as well too. He's changed how the three ball is affected the league as a whole. And I mean, look at the impact that he's made with the Warriors, just, the quick turnaround with how their season went last year and how well they're doing right now. Steph Curry is, the MVP currently, the front runner for this year, actually. And he's one that always garners my attention. So.
Yeah, man, those two are amazing. And I mean, when Kevin Durant and Steph Curry were on the same team, and oh man, that was just like, I'm not doing laundry tonight. I'm watching this entire game the entire time. So, for mine, I had to go with the NFL. I have to go Tom Brady. For me, it's just like, he just what he does on the field. He's just literally like a general on the field. He can see, he's seen every single defense. So it's just like watching like a grand chess master playing chess, and it is just so mesmerizing to watch. But super blessed, man. We're super blessed to be able to see these athletes perform. I mean, how lucky were we to be born at this moment just to see all these amazing athletes perform. So
it was that Pats Falcons game, Super Bowl that did it for me.
Oh yeah,
down 24-3, I believe it was. Yeah.
That game was huge. I did not do any chores.
Nobody did. I think the whole world was transfixed on their screens that night.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Well, hey, thanks guys for joining me tonight. Really do appreciate it. And thank you viewers for checking out EBC Sports International tonight and checking out this week's episode. On behalf of everyone on our panel, thank you so much. We hope you join us next week, and make sure to visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com, as well as net25.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Eagle News PH to join the conversation. For Eagle News, I'm Michael Hudson. We live in interesting times.
Oh, can it?
Hello everyone! Erica Celestino here, and guess where I am right now? I'm actually in Windsor! And it's my first time here, so let's go and visit the place! Come on! Windsor is a lively town located in Berkshire and makes a great day trip from the capital. It is actually less than 10 miles from London Heathrow Airport. You can get to Windsor by car, by bus, or by train. So we're in front of the train station. There you go. It's so nice. Here are some of the things you could see and do in Windsor. When Windsor is mentioned, the first thing we think of is a castle. It was built nearly 1,000 years ago and is a proper fortress. Did you know who lives here? The Queen! It is said that it's her favorite London residence. There's Windsor Guildhall, which is the town hall, and Queen Charlotte Street. Did you know that it's the shortest street in Britain? Here it is, Windsor Great Park. It covers 4,800 acres, parts of which are open to the public. Do you love walking? Because you can stroll along the long walk and through Windsor Great Park. Charles II created the 3-mile-long long walk from Windsor Castle leading into Windsor Great Park. When you walk from the River Thames up to the castle, you will pass by the Theatre Royal Windsor and the Queen Victoria statue. If you were to take the other entrance to the castle, then you'd bump into the Irish Guardsman statue. Another thing you might enjoy is walking by the river. It's less common these days to see royals on the river, but walks along the Thames path are not to be missed. From Windsor here in England, United Kingdom, I am Erica Celestino, and we live in interesting times.